out there. This was a bit unscripted. Hadn't planned on doing this, but there we go. I thought I'd do a live chat while I'm doing sound check and setup. Sorry, you'll have to excuse the state of the hair. We're at a place called The Drill in Lincoln, and we did a show here last night, which was a corporate awards event for various businesses here in Lincoln. And I'm sorry, the light is quite scary. The guy doing sound and lights is setting everything up, so suddenly I look like the extras from various Halloween movies. Anyway, so we did a corporate event last night. We're doing a public ticket event. Sorry, I can't get comfy here because I've got that bloody camera is all over the shop. See if that's a bit better. So we're doing a public ticketed event tonight at the same venue, The Drill in Lincoln. So if you're watching this and you're anywhere in Lincolnshire, I see Stacey from North Carolina. Good morning. Well, morning where you are, afternoon where we are. It's 2 o'clock, girl. 10 o'clock where you are, 2 o'clock here. So we're doing a public ticketed event tonight, and then straight after the show, we get in our cars and we head off to Burton in the Midlands, sort of north east of Birmingham, heading towards Derby, I think it is. And we're doing a corporate event for McLaren cars tomorrow. McLaren members, I think it is. So 3 on the bounce with the same band, which is a rarity, and should be good. But anyway, here we are at The Drill, fairly sizable, cavernous looking venue. And the reason I'm doing the live chat is I thought pretty much all my live chats are me sat on a stool in my office at home. So I thought we'd do a bit of a live chat here on soundcheck. So at the moment, the rest of the band have buggered off for lunch, and I'm here in basically an empty venue with the gear pretty much set up, and I can talk you through some of the stuff we use and what happens and how it sort of all gets thrown together. Would be a good explanation. So it's Queen tribute tonight, so very different setup to what I do with Uncle Funk. So different basses, different gear, but I can give you a quick sort of show round of what we do and how we do it. So obviously for doing a Queen tribute, doing John Deacon, we're talking precision basses here. So we've got one there, and that is a Fender 2017 FSR 70s precision bass. Not necessarily attached to John Deacon or what have you, but it's got that ash look, tortoiseshell scratch plate. Hasn't got a rosewood fingerboard, but they don't necessarily do a John Deacon bass. So a friend was selling this a couple of years ago, and it sounds great. Sounds actually absolutely monstrous. And I love a maple fingerboard, so I bought it. So this is my backup. I don't use it as the main bass. That's the main bass. Again, nothing particularly fancy about this. This is a 2018 standard Mexican precision. Fender, of course, but I changed over loads of bits on the bass. So I changed the bridge, changed the controls, changed the pickup, changed the machine heads, string tree, and you can't always get hold of a black precision with gold hardware. You've got to do that bit yourself, but it sounds great, plays great. I've just done a couple of tweaks on the truss rod and the string saddles, because we're going through a bit of a weather change here in the UK at the moment. I just had to do some stuff with some Allen keys to get it all playing how I liked it. Found the neck was choking some of the notes last night, so that's the joy of doing 2 gigs in one venue. You get to fine-tune the second night. So gear-wise, I'll show you the pedal board. We were talking pedal boards the other day on the live chat on Monday. So this is the basic board. So for Queen, people will be going, he doesn't use any pedals. No, I know that. I get that. I don't need educating on John Deacon. I'm well aware of that. But what we're using here is very similar to the board I showed you. I don't think it was Monday. It was last Monday. So it would have been live chat 24. So we've got the small board out. So we've got the bass goes into the Boss TU2 tuner. We then come to the drop pedal. And because of the guy we've got doing Freddie on these shows, not everyone's blessed with a range like Freddie Mercury. So we tune the semitone down, but rather than me adjust the tuning on my basses, I let the pedal do it. So here we are, just going one semitone down. As you can see, we showed you this the other week on the live chat. So going one down, then we go into the octabass pedal from EBS. Don't use that hell of a lot, but it's nice to fatten up ending notes at the end of a song, just to load more power. And also I do use it when we do Who Wants to Live Forever. There's a couple of very loud, thunderous, droning notes, so I use that in there. Then go into the filter twin, the Aguilar filter twin. Again, people will be going, what the hell are you using that for? I actually find it's really handy in there's a couple of sections in Radio Gaga, which is normally a keyboard effect, a keyboard sound. And actually I can kind of double it up with this. And that envelope filter really pops. So that would be kind of going into the second verse, and also the section in the middle where you're coming out to the guitar solo and the last couple of choruses. So I use that on there. And then it comes out to the Aguilar tone hammer, which gives me some different EQ and some different sounds if I need it. If I need a bit more punch with the pick, or certain parts like Another One Bites the Dust, or if I want a bit more attack on Under Pressure. And anything that I think I need a boost or a bit more mid-range, I'll kick that in. Soundman's got the option of running an extra DI out of that, but he's chosen not to. That's his preference. I have no worries with that. And then we're down to the amplification, aren't we, really? So anyone who's been following the channel or the social media feed the past couple of days, you'll notice I put up a post about bringing the big guns out. Well, they don't get much bigger than this. So we've got the Aguilar DB751 amp. Got the tuner, Korg tuner, not using it tonight, I don't really need to. The amps and the cabinet aren't raised up, so under the stage lighting you can't really see the tuner, it's not at eye level. But the amplifier certainly is. So this is heavy duty bass gear. This is the real deal. So the 751 is a Valve and MOSFET hybrid amp capable, I think, of 1,000 watts, and it's driving two Aguilar SL212 cabinets, the lightweight ones, and the sound is hefty. So I'm going to turn this, well, as you can see, the amplifier is already turned on. Stacey, thank you very much for your super chat donation, $1.99. Thank you very much, appreciate that. Anyone who doesn't know how or what just happened, basically Stacey donated to the channel via super chat. You can do the same if you wish. On the live chat window that you will see, there's an emoji icon, so you can put emojis in the chat. There's also a dollar symbol that allows you to make a financial contribution to this channel. You can also do something similar via super thanks, which exists underneath every video where the icons are. That allows you hit the dollar symbol that's in the love heart. You can financially donate to the channel. I missed your message there. Normally I'm looking at the laptop. Let me get the messages on. Live chat, all messages are visible. Thank you, there we go. I like the behind the scenes stuff. Well, we'll try and do more of this. The problem is it's usually really difficult to do because you got whole band, sound crew, lighting people, noise. And in fact, 20 minutes ago there was loads of noise. The sound man was testing music through the system, so it's a bit hard to always do these, and this was just a spur of the moment decision, but I thought it would be handy for some of you, because I know on the live chat people keep asking me, what are you using, how do you use it, how do you connect it up? So normally I'd have I might have a rack mount tuner here. Obviously there's one in the rack here, but I'm not using tonight. I would also have a rack mounted wireless system, and that then complicates the wired setup, because you're going bass into transmitter, transmitter into receiver. That then comes out to the tuner, that then goes to the pedal board, that then comes back to the amplifier. So that gets a bit more convoluted, but I'm going pretty simple today. So I'm literally just going from the bass there. That's then coming around into the tuner pedal on the board. Then I'm coming out of the tone hammer, and that's just going straight into the amp. No effects, setups or anything. It's just plain and simple and easy, because we do get very noisy. It's a Queen band after all. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm running. And then on the top of the amp, on top of the rack rather, I've got an Aguilar AG700, just in case we have any amplifier problems. Last night they had probably 10 coffee machines here for the corporate event, and at some point they were all turned on, all heating up, and they blew the power to the stage, which thankfully didn't blow my valves in the amp, but it knocked the amp out. I came back up hoping it wasn't going to be a £125 revalve, and thankfully it wasn't. The amp's working fine, but you just don't need those sort of things happening. So I have the AG700 there. That's my fail-safe. The only problem with the AG700 is you can't run two 4-ohm speaker cabinets. You can only run one, or one 4-ohm cabinet and one 8-ohm cabinet. Well, I don't do mismatch like that. That sends the OCD into overdrive. So I can only run one cabinet, but that would get me by if it came to it. So yeah, so that's kind of the setup really. So nothing particularly complicated or tricky going on, just really good gear, powerful, reliable, and there we go. And then we get down to the really important bits, obviously, clearly, which is player comfort here while you're on the job. So I invested in one of these little contraptions which allows you to keep your drink close to you rather than on the floor and having people kick it all over the place. I have my drink at arm's length at any point, which makes things a whole lot easier. And that's it. And then we're going monitors tonight. I'm not doing in-ears. Don't really need to. Monitoring was absolutely fabulous last night. Soundman did us a great job. So we're going natural monitoring tonight. It'll be in-ears tomorrow because we're using our own system. But at the moment, I can give you a guided tour, semi-guided tour of the stage, if that's your thing. So obviously we've got the bass corner here. We can go onto the tubs. Clearly, this is a man that loves his cymbals. I say that, he never cleans them, but yeah. So he's going for the full Roger Taylor effect. We have various pads and mixers and all sorts of shenanigans going on over here. I tend not to get involved in that. That's just way too many things to go wrong, which isn't my bag. Then we come down to Mr. Six String. So he has 3 Vox amplifiers there. I can tell you now, it's all for show. He's actually running off a huge pedal board here on the floor, which is all covered up. But the amps are there. Some gigs, when you're doing outdoor stuff, you might want to run them and start doing all the miking up with the delays and stuff. But for peace of mind, he's not. So he's just going with this huge pedal board. Yes, an aircraft carrier of a pedal board. And he's got the Brian May guitars affair going on there. Then there's an extra a Hamer. What is that? An XT series backup. I think there's another Brian May guitar backstage as well. And then a pair of monitors, obviously. He's a guitar player. And then we get on to Mr. Mercury's side. He's got 2 monitors and the piano. He's playing that bit live. And then we have backing tracks for the synth parts. And then we're back to bass corner, which is the Brooks's bass corner, in fact, which, let's be fair, is the only place you really want to be, frankly. So let's get you some sounds up here. So I need to just put the straps and the strap locks on, and we can dial in some sounds, guys. So thank you very much for attending my last minute sound live chat. I think it's just you and me, Stace. I don't see anyone else attending because it's middle of the afternoon here. I was going to do this on Instagram, but then I thought, nah, we'll go with YouTube today. So comfort straps all the way. Don't use anything else. Love comfort straps. Used them since 1998. No problems, no issues, and long may it continue. And then we're going for the black and gold base. We're going for black shallow strap locks here. Who's there? Gary, you're here, mate. Hello, mate. How you doing? All right? Gary and I go way back. We were at school together. Gaz, you tuned in at just the right time. There she is. Fantastic. Going to plug her in a minute. But thank you. This was really, I hadn't even thought about this until I got here, and I thought, actually, do you know what? It's going to be time to kill. Good way of showing you guys how it all goes down, really. It's very hard when you're sat on a drum stool in your office on a Monday evening trying to explain all this stuff. So here we go. Brooks's Bass Corner, what my channel is all about. Handy tips, right? So if you're new or you're not to bass playing and guitar playing, get your strap and don't just put it in the jack socket, because you're going to stand on that lead and pull it out. What you do, learned very early on in my career, and in fact Gary might have been one of the people that showed me this, but anyway, it was accrued over time. So round the back of your strap, through and into the front, right? So you give yourself a little bit of slack there, right? Then if you stand on it, that jack is not coming out unless you really are unfortunate, and that could just save your bacon on a gig. Okay, so that's what we're all about. While we're talking handy hints, anyone who follows the channel will know there's a video which I did really early on in the channel, which was about installing shallow strap locks. So very often on gigs I come across guitar players and other bass players, and they say, why have you not got all the washers and screws that go with these? I'll tell you why. Because when I turned professional in 1995, I did a gig, and I was using the Kabiki Factor, but the bass wasn't the problem, it was the shallow strap locks. So over a period of months, the screw and the washer, so basically the way this works is, I'll do it with another strap, because I've got another one here. So what happens is, you've got the strap button on the bass, and then what you do is you put that through the strap and then put the washer and then the screw, and it clamps down. So the idea is the strap and the strap lock is the point of security. It isn't. So over a couple of months, the screw and washer kept working loose. You can't avoid it because the strap is constantly pushing against it, and over time it gets loose. So you tighten it up, you tighten it up, you tighten it up. Gigs go by, you tighten it up again. It never ends. So I was doing a gig, and on the Kabiki, the horn mounted strap lock is, it's not at an angle, but it's not horizontal. It's kind of going off at a bit of an angle. So anyway, my strap, I'll try and show you, was basically pulling on it, and it was obviously, the strap was on this part. Well, during the gig, totally unbeknownst to me, the washer and the screw flew off, which meant then my strap was completely loose. And what happened was, I'll show you. So basically the strap was on there, that completely came off, and my Kabiki went southward, and I caught it before it hit the floor. I was absolutely devastated. And it happened, and I thought there's got to be a way around it. And Shallow won't tell you this, but what you do is, and I've used this method ever since, and it's never let me down. So you put your strap on the strap button, you throw the washer and the screw away, and you just put the strap lock over the top. Now, until such time as you've used the strap for like 15 years and the gap gets such that it will just fly over the top, thankfully this one won't, you're okay. You actually don't need, you're paying for the screw and the washer, and you don't need it. So there's a video of that on the channel. I'll put it in the description box at a later date. So basically, that isn't going anywhere. The bass ain't going anywhere, and the strap ain't going anywhere. This has never failed me. The only time it's got a little dicey was at home, and I had an old strap where that gap that gives you a bit of extra room had just kind of worked its way apart. That works for me. It doesn't work for everyone else, but it works for me, and that setup has never let me down, and it all comes off a whole lot better, nice and smooth, and there's no screw, no washer, no bits flying off. The amount of gigs I've done where I've found shallow washers and screws lying about in corners because basically they self-combust. So here's my setup, 2 of them, no screws, no washers. It's not going anywhere, and that kind of works for me, so it's all good. So here we go, amplifier plugged in, yes, tuner. Before I do any playing, I'm tuning up. So. Cool. Here we are. Prepare yourselves. Turn your speakers down, this could get loud. Here we go. It's all working. We're going to have a show. So let me show you what the effects do now we've got some sounds. So I'll try and do this as good for you guys as I can. So it might make sense or it might make no sense whatsoever. I'm trying to think where to put you. I might just have to hold you there, sorry. So I get loads of people asking what the drop pedal's all about. So now we can actually do a proper demo. How about that? See if I can put you there. Does that work? Get the old, no, that one. Sorry, I'm dealing with my tripod, if you'll pardon the phrase. Right, let's see. Does that work? Ish. It kind of does. Maybe not. Bear with me. Does that work? That might work. Anyway, you'll get a rough idea. So this is how the drop pedal works. So if I'm playing, and then hit the drop pedal, we're going 1 semitone down. Turn off and go straight back up. So I can change it as much as I want. So I want to go a tone and a half. You want to go 3 tones, we can do that. You'll notice at that point the top end is seriously dropping off. So if you don't require upper mids and treble, you're fine. But if you do, you're a bit knackered. So if we want to go to an octave down, so regular. Tracking's a bit wishy-washy, but that's also because we're using the precision without any sort of top end on it, just a smattering of the tone control. But my favourite setting on it is the octaver with the regular sound. So clean, with the octaver on. And I said on the video the other week that I use the drop octaver and the EBS one, you hear the difference between the two sounds. So here's the drop. And here's with the EBS. Quite markedly different, as you'll hear. And the filter twin for Radio Gaga. So it's not going to make much sense, not in context, but I can assure you it works great. And then we've got the tone hammer. So if I've got my tone I'm going to be using most of the time, which is if I need a bit of drive, chuck the AGS in. That's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot else there on this board for this gig. Don't need anything else, that pretty much does everything. Let me just catch up on the messages. Let's see, there are messages. Messages, please. There we go. Sorry, the Wi-Fi is a little particular here, so I'm just catching up. Right, yeah, cool. Glad you're enjoying it, Stace. Thank you. Gary. Yeah, Gary's there. Yeah, on your lunch. Excellent. There we go. Thank you. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'll swap over to the other bass. You'll hear the difference. So let me just sort the tripod out. There we go. There we are. It's better. So this is the regular bass I use for this. So as I said, it's 2018 standard Mexican. Nothing special about it. I changed the hardware over, put a better pickup in. The Aguilar, it's a 4P60, I think. More lively, more punch, more character, more output. Bridge got swapped to a Wilkinson brass bridge, which does the job. Standard gold controls, nothing special there. Machine heads are hip shots to take some of the weight off, but also they need more winding so you can actually get your tuning more accurate. Love them, great. And then the gold string tree, but other than that. That's that bass. I might fiddle around with the tone control a bit, just depends on the tone on the stage. So let me just mute that and we'll swap over to the bass I bought off Gary. They're right, governor. So this one has a very, very different sound, and that's why I bought it. Strung up with rotor sounds as you do. Afternoon Jason, afternoon Jack. Some more strap locks, chrome. So this is an FSR, which stands for Fender Special Release. It's a 70s precision. Very different sounding. Much fuller neck. Getting towards the baseball bat feel. A bit more like a Mike Dirnt. But it's okay. Black binding on the sides. Dots. I can't remember, Gary, did you put this scratch plate on, or was this the one that was on it when you bought it? But anyway, lovely dark red tortoiseshell. So it looks great. Not unlike Mr. Deacon's 68, 69 precision. So yeah, so let's get this tuned up and then I'll let you hear it. Right. go. So this is lively. So I'll turn the tone control right down, you can hear. Let's turn it up a third. You're already getting loads of clang, loads of punch. Ready? Let's go up to about 70%. Brightness is there through the whole tone control. So on full clank, which is what it should be called, not a tone control, it's a clank control. This bass is all about. Totally different. Totally different. You don't get that on this bass, on the other one. It's a combination of the ash body and the maple neck and fingerboard, and the way this pickup's wound. Whatever they did for this, it's really there. It's really punchy. That's what this thing does. It does it really well. But yeah, so that's kind of pretty much a basic rundown of what goes on these Queen tribute gigs. It's not a lot of different sounds, different tones. It's just you just use your tone control depending on what song it is, whether you're using a pick on certain songs or not, and how the gig's going. You know, it's there's nothing tricky, but it's just good reliable gear. Get the tones. Got to sit in the mix with the guitar and the piano, and Freddie doing his thing, and the tubs doing their thing, and that's kind of it. Not a whole lot else. So if you're enjoying this behind the scenes video, last minute, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, thumbs up would be fabulous, thank you. For anyone who's thinking, he's putting a lot of stuff up today, I've got time to kill. So there's a new YouTube short that went up about an hour ago. It's another one of those extract videos from existing content here on the channel. So it's the Ibanez ATK 400. So it's a snippet extract from the soundbite demo. There's a whole load of those have gone up over the past week or two. So if you haven't checked them out, feel free to do so. You should find them on the videos page. Alternatively, you can go to the shorts playlist and they'll be in there. So it was Ibanez ATK 400 today. It was a Stingray 5-string yesterday with the status graphite neck. I'm trying to think what else there was this week. There's a variety of dingwalls have gone up, a couple of statuses, and I'm losing track. It's literally a video a day at the moment. But yeah, if you want to check those out, feel free. They're on the playlist, and yeah. So I can keep this going as long as you guys are happy watching. So feel free to fire any comments or questions over, and we can make this part of the regular live chat experience. Not a problem. It's easy today. We've got loads of time. So if you want to chat, got any questions about anything on the channel, you want to ask anything about bass guitars or amplifiers or effect pedals or bass accessories, I'll answer them as much as I can. So yeah, so there we go. So this is it. It's really quite dull, you know, the preamble. But it's because we were here last night, so we've already done one gig, and we're just in the same venue. So it's all relatively easy. So it's quite a big old hall. Apparently, get about 350 people in here, allegedly. I think it looks more than that, but we'll see. I think Soundman's gone for his sandwiches and a cup of tea. Yeah, so it looks like it's just you and I, Stace. So I hope you're having a good day. And yeah, so I have light on the stage now, but it just makes me look very ghoulish with all the shadows. I'm trying to find a spot where actually it doesn't look too bad. But yeah, there we go. So this is the deal. This is the behind the scenes stuff that you guys don't get to see. This is what you're getting paid for. It's the hanging around time. It's not the performance. The performance is the easy bit. This is the time killing section. But yeah, so we're filming tonight. The guys in the band need to do a new demo, new video, and all of that. So we're going to be recording. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on over the next couple of hours. I can leave this running. We'll see. Some of it might not come across too well in terms of volume because the mic on the camera might go nuts, but yeah, there we are. So yeah, oh, there's more messages. I need to click the down arrow. Here we go. There we go. Yeah. Gary, he changed the scratch plate. Oh, very good. So I've got your scratch plate then. Beefy girl, yeah. Oh shoot, listen to that. Yeah, shouldn't have sold her really. First dibs on her return, mate. Well, mate, you've got more than enough bases. I don't think you'll be missing this. But this is quite fantastic. And it wasn't long after I bought it. I think I said to you, Gary, that I was playing along with Uptown Funk, and this basically has got the tone of that bass on Uptown Funk. Precision. I think he's using a 5-string though. There's just something about the pickup and the combination of the woods on this thing. Just sounds great. Actually, let me just mute that. It's making a noise. So let's have a look at the messages. Here we go. Here we go. What venue is that? This is the Drill. It's called the Drill in Lincoln. It's an arts theatre and arts centre kind of thing. Very nice. Let's have a look here. Doesn't that cut through like butter? It really does, compared to the other one. But it's a different sound. This has far more attack. So you've got to kind of rein the frequencies in, which you can either do via the tone control, but you haven't got a whole lot of power or control there. So you can then either do it on your amp, if you're using an amp, or you kind of subdue it a bit on the tone hammer pedal. So yeah, but simplicity is what works more than anything really. I could tame it down a bit by putting either nickel strings or half wounds on here, or I could go the full Monty and do flats, but I'm quite happy just using tone controls and stuff. You're making a Starbucks run. Haha. Excellent, that's what I like to see. What's your fave DK bassline or run? Cool. Hell, there's so many, aren't there? I mean, he didn't even play bass on it live, which is Staying Power, which you can hear on the live at Milton Keynes, Queen on Fire. That's keyboard line, but he came up with the bass line in the studio, and I love that. Hard to play. Neil Fairclough does it very well. There's a clip of Neil playing at the bass guitar show in 2016. And he played it and sang it. And I was master of ceremonies that day, and as I pointed out, no one's ever heard this bass line played on a bass guitar by Queen. And this is probably the closest anyone's going to get to it, was having Neil do it. So he played the bass line with Andy Treacy on drums. Andy plays for Faithless. And then on top of playing it, Neil sang it. Such is the power of the man. But yeah, so I love Staying Power. There's so many great Queen bass lines. Sometimes it's even just little fills. Here comes Fred. Get ready. I love Millionaire Waltz, the whole track. That is a bass tour de force. There's just so many great parts. The one or many bass players, originally when you start learning Queen stuff, that really ties your fingers is You're My Best Friend. But actually, once you sit and work it out, it isn't that bad. It's so I haven't got a sampler pedal or I've lost my bearings completely. When you sample a thing, a looper. Thank you. I don't have a looper, and I've got no one else here on stage, but I can give you a rough. So we're in C. So it's. That's basically that part, and then the next section is and that's it. Repeat. That's all there is in that. I sat and watched, I actually listened to the original isolated track. It sounds awful, but it fits and it works, and that's what's earned him millions and millions of pounds. But the actual line, played with flat wounds, and the way it's mixed, isolated, sounds horrendous. However, many a bass line sounds horrendous when it's isolated. You chuck it then into the song, and that's where the magic lies. So yeah, I saw a message pop up there. So look, there you go. Well, if that helps you, if you want me to play it again slowly, I'll happily do it. It sounds like there's a lot going on when you originally try and work it out, and there is. But once you realise, as with most Queen songs, there's not a lot of ad hoc, different ways. Like they won't play a thing and put in crafty little changes each time round. It's sometimes certain songs are just blocks, so it'll be intro, verse, chorus, middle eight, chorus, end, and he doesn't deviate. But what he was good at was playing songs one take, probably with the occasional drop in. But you know, there's room there to expand and play things differently. But it's such a, I won't say tricky, but it's where it is, you know, it's there. I've seen people play it down here on the thinner strings. That ain't gonna work. You need the beef, the plummier tones of those two, because so much of it ends up here. So yeah. So as much as you can get onto these two strings, do that. But again, you have to make sure, certainly when you're gigging, you got the bass set up right, because otherwise notes start choking off. That's the fret that when I set this up for you, Gary, that's the offender. That one there. I've managed to remedy it at the moment, but when temperatures change, suddenly you've got to readjust. Yeah. So. So that's that, mate. And that will be coming out tonight. Let's see how we're doing. It's just fab, isn't it? You're quite right, Stacey. It is. See, this is the gold. This isn't me sat on a stool in my office. This is as it is. I don't know how this is sounding on the camera, so you'll have to tell me if it's distorting or it sounds all right. Still got the same strings on, Gaz. I haven't changed them. Don't need to. They're sounding good. So yeah, how about that? Friday live chat. That's got to be a first. It does. No, they're not nickels. These are steels, my man. Red windings. If they were nickels, there wouldn't be. No, nickels with rotor sound, I think, usually have a light blue, like a medium blue. The reds all the time, mate. I don't like nickels. The only time I would use nickels is if I needed to use them to either tame a certain bass, which this might be a prime contender, or just to have. If I was playing something and they just went, it's too lively with steels, I need to use nickels or halves. I had nickels actually on the Fender, the 62 reissue that I did the Oasis tribute with a couple of years ago. And they were okay for a couple of gigs and then died off, and that's kind of what I expected. I just didn't like the feel. Just don't like the feel of nickels. Steels every time, my man. Always. I'm noodling now. It's a dangerous area to go in. So I hope you all have a great weekend. I'm going to be doing this all again tomorrow. So it might be another live chat. Don't know what to talk to you about then, because we've already gone through everything. But it'll be different venue, different client, different type of show tomorrow. It's a corporate event for McLaren, a racing company, and we're playing at the Hilton in St George's Park, which is where in Burton-on-Trent, which I think is where the England football squad, their base is located there. So it'll be an interesting day. And then next week, oh my goodness, what have we got next week? Next week is Uncle Funk. We're back out. So there'll be some new bass string videos. And that's a public gig in Witham in Essex. So if you're in the vicinity, you'd like to come see some disco hits with an outrageously spectacular band, we'll be there next Friday. And Saturday, I am doing, funnily enough, the Oasis tribute. Definitely might be. We are playing at the O2 Academy in Oxford. Yeah, next Saturday. So that's my my 2 gigs for next week. But we'll have our live chat on Monday and do our regular catch up and all of that. So I'm sorry this was a little unannounced. It was literally, I thought, do you know what, I could do one today. Because there aren't a million people all scurrying around doing stuff, so it's all good. Sorry, I saw a load of messages come in there. So it's a lot easier when I've got the laptop. I want to see all of them. Thank you. Got to run, mate. Have a great gig. And you, Gaz, I will catch up with you soon. I did get your message about Mama's Gun, and I would have loved to have come along in April, because it's the day after my birthday, but unfortunately I'm already booked a gig. So, can't do it, mate, but thank you for the invite anyway. But we will do that. We will go and see them at some point. Stacey, correct. And the dovetail, and this dovetails with the necessity. Oh, I want to see that. Sorry, your message faded. For anyone in a Queen tribute to be on the same page delivering the goods, there's no wiggle room for personal interpretation of the song as discussed. Correct. Well, you can try and wiggle your way around it, but Queen have done all the homework for you. You've just got to copy it. At least that's my take on it. If you're in a tribute band, no one wants to hear your interpretation. No one is interested. They want to hear what they know. That's why these songs have been arranged and orchestrated as they are. But yeah, there we go. So tell me, Stacey, what's coming up for your weekend? I'm out here owning a crust doing this. What are you doing? I'm noodling again. It's dangerous. I can't, obviously I don't hear how it sounds. I'm just I've got it here in front of me. So please tell me in a message how this sounds on the phone. It's a bit half-hearted. Let's make that scream a bit, shall we? There we go. There we go. Can't see what I'm doing. It's pinched harmonics. Nothing elaborate. I do use them occasionally. Yeah, so there we go. Here we go. Someone at Guns and Butter. I don't know who you are, but you're welcome. How you doing? Welcome to Brooks's Bass Corner. This is a very last minute live chat. I'm on a gig. These don't happen very often. They're usually from the comfort of my own office, but today we're out on a gig, so I'm doing a live chat, so you're welcome. I guess I've got to do the Brooks's Bass Corner spiel, haven't I? So if you've got any questions about basses, guitars, amplifiers, effects, bass accessories, you want to know anything about what's here on the channel, you want to ask anything about Queen tribute gigs, you want to talk about Queen, you want to talk about any bass legends, you are more than welcome. Fire your questions in the live chat window. I'll try and answer them as quick as I can and as well as I can. If you aren't familiar with live chats, if you enjoy this chat, you enjoy stuff that's on the channel, you've watched any of the other videos and you like it, you can financially donate to the channel via super chat. On the live chat window you'll see an emoji sign, so you can add emojis to the chat. Next to it is a dollar symbol. That's super chat. So if you like this video chat, live chat, anything on the channel, by all means, if you wish to donate to the channel, you can do so. You can also do that on any video on the channel. We are monetized. Where the symbols are below the video, thumbs up, thumbs down, share, save, watch later, you'll notice there's one there which is a love heart with a dollar symbol in. That's called super thanks. So if you enjoy any of the videos on the channel and you think, I really like what this guy's creating, I'd like to help him out, you can donate money to the channel via super thanks. That's how it works. So a load of messages come in there. Let me find you. Working Saturday, Stace. Excellent. Got to keep you working. So Guns and Butter, if you've never checked out the channel before, feel free. It's all bass related, bass guitars, bass amplifiers, reviews, interviews, essential bass albums, workshop stuff, setting up basses. The live chats happen every Tuesday at the moment, 7 o'clock in the UK. Loads of us get together and talk bass. That's how it works. So if you've got any questions or anything you'd like to add, chuck it in the live chat window and I'll respond to it as best I can. So today's situation is I'm on a Queen tribute gig. We're doing a run of 3. Did one last night at this venue, which was a corporate event. Tonight we're at the same venue, which is great. So all the gear's set up pretty much. We're ready to go, start doing sound and stuff, but we're going to be filming tonight and recording audio for a new demo. And it's a public event, so if you're watching and you're in the Lincolnshire area and district here in the UK, if you want to come buy a ticket, come down, say hello, you're more than welcome. And then after we finish the show tonight, we pack down, back in the cars, we head off to Burton-on-Trent, and we go to the Hilton Hotel at St George's Park, and we're playing for McLaren, the racing car firm company enterprise, and we're doing an event for them tomorrow night. So it's all go. So I thought, while I had some time in my hands, and we never get to do this, I've had this channel running over 2.5 years, and we've never got to do live chat on sound checks. There's time and the ability to do it today. So I have relative peace. There is no one here at the moment. So it's all kind of working in my favour. So it's all good. So if you want to talk bass, let's go for it. That's what we're here for. I keep seeing messages pop up and I'm missing them. Here we go. But yeah. So that's where we are. I hope you're all having a good Friday. I hope you can hear me okay, because I can't get, if I stand too close to the phone, you don't see anything. So I'll stand back a bit, but hopefully everything's all good. So what we're using today, we've got a pair of Fenders. This is a Fender FSR 70s Precision. Came out 2017. Fairly standard precision thing. Ash body, maple neck, maple fingerboard, black binding on the side. And a pickup that's wound slightly differently. Very throaty, very middly, fab. Cuts through. So that's that bass. I have another one here, which is a Fender Standard Mexican Fair from about 2017, 2018. So they're both similar vintage. And just replace some of the hardware and the pickup on this and the tuners. So that's doing the whole John Deacon 86 to 97 vibe. And then we're plugging into Aguilar amplification here, nothing but the best. Got an AG75, start again, DB751. We have an AG700 on top for backup. The thing in the foil is chocolate cake. That's very important. Cabinets, we're using Aguilar SL212s, so they're 2x12 cabinets, a pair of them. Cool rack mounted tuner in there. We've got pedal board, so for people who've recently joined. So I've got a basic pedal board that I use for this, which is a Boss TU2 tuner, Digitech drop pedal, Aguilar EBS Octabass, Aguilar filter twin, and an Aguilar tone hammer. So everything's sort of kept fairly simple, nothing particularly complicated. You're just going for strong, powerful, direct signal as much as possible, and that's what's required. You know, that's Mr. John Deacon's bass playing. That's what we do. So my preference isn't to play P basses. I generally don't. I use a load of other guitars, but for Queen, that's what it has to be. Who have we got? Stuart Milne. Hi Brooksy. Welcome. You are welcome. What would be the minimum bass amp wattage you would recommend for live gigs? Here we go. This is the Gold Dust. This is what we like. If I can help in any way with this sort of stuff, I'm more than happy to. But for some reason, your message has disappeared. Let me go back. Here we go. What would you recommend for live gigs? Genre is classic rock with acoustic, electric, and drums. Venue size around 100 people. Okay, my basic premise for that kind of thing, because again, you're never in control of the venues or the stage. They all change. They all have different effects on your sound. When I first started doing professional gigs, which was 1995, I had a Hartkey 3500 head and a 4x10 XL cab, and that covered every single gig I did until I swapped over to EBS. So that did me from 1992 to 2002, and I did thousands of gigs with that, and it was great. But what it taught me is a 4x10 will cover every eventuality you need in any gigging situation. 3500 heads, so 350 watts, it was a mixture of solid state and a valve in the preamp. That was more than loud enough. I think technology's come a long way, and obviously back then we didn't really have Class D amps. That didn't come in until sort of late 90s, early 2000s. Everyone's buying Class D. It's cheaper, it's lighter, it does the job. I'm quite happy with Class D amps on certain gigs, but Basically, if you think you're going to be doing a lot of live work, you want something that's going to cover everything that you need it to do. So either go modular and buy two separate cabs, so maybe two 112s or two 210s, because two 210s will give you a 410. And then amplifier-wise, power, see the Trace Elf is 200 watts, and I've done gigs with a Trace Elf and a 2x12 in loud, noisy rock pubs, and it's been fine. But then again, you might end up on a gig where you're doing a wedding in a marquee, and marquees just sap your volume, sap your punch, and no amount of boosting the volume is going to cut you through. So I would say, as a guide, if you can get an amplifier that's 300 watts or more, that's going to do everything you need until such time as you want to start sort of building. But if you find a brand that you really like, going modular isn't a bad thing, because it means you can have like a 4x12 cab and add a 210, or go with a 212 and add a 210, or you can go for 15 and a 410. There's so many options, but if you find a brand that you really like and you're happy to stick with, modular is not a bad thing to do. Because also, if you've already gone and bought like a 410 and then you do a gig where a 210 is more than enough, you haven't got to carry the 410, you can just take the 210. And I did that for many years, where I had 410s and 212s, and I'd always have a 210 as well. So if I was doing a smaller pub gig or like an acoustic gig, and even there was a bar that I used to play in London where there simply wasn't room for a 410 or a 212, but I could fit a 210 stood up on its side. So I'd just take that. I'd take that and a Gallion Kruger MB200, small class D amp, and that was more than loud enough for that venue. But again, not every venue is the same as that. So that would be my recommendation to you, Stuart. Hope that helps. If you want to carry on this conversation, you want to sort of go into some more detail, feel free. That's what I'm here for. So if you'd like to elaborate further, if I can be of any help, I'm more than happy to do so. Why aren't these messages showing up? Show me your messages. Let's see. If I do that, and then I click on that, so now I want to see all the messages. Okay. I think I've exhausted the messages, so yeah. So this can carry on as long as you guys are happy commenting and posting, because at the moment we're doing nothing. So if I can help in any way, if this is the first time you've been on Brooks's Bass Corner, if you've got any questions about basses, amps, effects, bass accessories, you want to talk about anything on the channel, anything about any of the interviews, the reviews, the soundbite demos, the Essential Bass album series, if you want to talk to me about the YouTube shorts, if you want to talk about anything that's on the channel or anything bass related, feel free. I'm sorry I keep moving about, but I haven't got a seat, and the tripod and the camera are at a certain height, so I have to keep moving up and down. My legs are giving out. So yeah, so if you've not been on Brooks's Bass Corner before, we do a live chat on Tuesdays. Oh, who's that? Can Voodoo? Yes, you were on my live chat the other day. Hey, welcome. But this caught you by surprise, but you weren't expecting a live chat on a Friday afternoon, were you? Stuart, thank you very much. That's really helpful. No problem. Feel free. I've been there. As I've said many times on our live chats, I've been playing 35 years. I've done 27 playing professionally. I've done over 4,000 gigs. Chances are I've experienced any of the problems you've got or had with gear, gigs, running a band, playing abroad, getting your gear abroad, filling out visa forms. I've done all that. So if I can help in any way, I'm more than happy to. Because if it makes your life easier, you haven't got to go through the grief I've gone through. What's your favourite Queen bass line out of interest? Gary asked that earlier. Mate, I've got so many. Queen is my band. That's what I grew up with. Family connections, where my aunt and uncle were at Imperial with Brian. And Queen's been my band since I was about 4 years old. Favourite Queen bass lines, there's so many. I could pick out so many. I've had this chat with Neil Fairclough on several occasions, and once we get talking, we're there for about 4 days talking about Queen and favourite bass lines. Let me hold this, it's a bit better. I can stand up then. Favourite bass lines? Well, as I said earlier, I love Stay in Power, which even though John didn't play it live, I'm sure he was the one who came up with the synth bass line in the studio. So I love that. I love the bass line on Dancer. I really do. I've always been a fan of that. I like the bass line, the simplicity on You Don't Fool Me, which on Made in Heaven. In fact, if you've got the time, I'll rattle through it. I'll go through all the albums in my head and pick out my favourite lines. I just saw a message pop up there. 2 seconds. John Deacon, so underrated, absolutely. As I've said many times, both in Bass Guitar Magazine, Bass Player, and here on the channel, my bass playing history is a tale of two Johns, John Deacon and John Taylor. From that point, that's my starting point. Everything comes off of that. So favourite bass lines, let's work it out. So, Made in Heaven, there's quite a few good bass lines on there. I'll come back to that. Innuendo. John's bass tone on Innuendo is quite sublime. Some of his precision tones on there. But again, we've never been enlightened to them playing in the studio that much. So it could well be that he was using his Roger Giffen bass on things like These Are the Days of Our Lives, Show Must Go On. Actually really love the... actually, one of my favourite songs on Innuendo is Don't Try So Hard. Not necessarily the bass line, I just love the song. I love the sentiment of the song. I love how Freddie sings it. Always loved Headlong, because it's rare for John to do detuning, and that goes down to a low D. And it's a shame actually now. I mean, I've thought about this many times over the years, and you think of all the songs that were on The Miracle and Innuendo and Made in Heaven that never got to be played live with Freddie. You know, how good would Breakthrough have been as a live track? Because I've seen the impact that song has at the Queen conventions. And to hear Freddie do I Want It All would be something. And imagine if they'd done Innuendo live. That would make your toes curl. Just learnt Hammer to Fall for our set. A bit more going on than first thought. Okay, how about I play it through for you? I'll do it, and we'll do it slowly, okay? And you tell me bits that I need to go back and play slower. I'll play it for you. Let me get some plectrums, I'll do it for you. How about that? And if you want to donate to the channel via Super Chat, feel free. You can have this one on me. Hold on, let me get some pics, and I'll play it for you. In fact, I think my bag with the picks, yeah, is in the changing room. So I'll do it with fingers, okay? So let's do Hammer to Fall. Try not to go too loud, it'll blast you. Just let crack him. Okay, right. I'm going to stand here so you can see what I'm doing. If you need me to do close-ups, then I'll do that, but I can only gauge it by your messages. So, so we start the song. Twice. Then you've got the change, so it's E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and then you've got some pushes, which is D, A, G, F sharp. Do that twice. sparingly use the low A and the high A, because that will give you some variation. You then come back into the third verse, which I generally play high up, and I'm kind of muting it a bit, so it's not bleeding. An E, yeah, and an A, and then you're back in. Outro. So from there, basically the guitars are doing all their thing. Don't go high up. You need to keep the foundation going. So it's very dull, very boring. You can play some variations on it to make it a bit more interesting for you, but that's about it. Let me come back to your messages. So there's not a hell, for me, I don't think there's a hell of a lot going there, but when you're working that out from scratch, yeah, it takes a little bit of work. Just bear with me. Yeah, are you faithful to the original bass lines, or do you add your own touch to the lines? I try as much as possible to play exactly what is on the record, or a live version. So when you go to learning the live versions after the studio versions, you find some of them, certainly around the 80, 81, 82, 84 period, because they go off at such a blistering pace. Sometimes Deacon simplifies his own line, and I've noticed that on quite a few songs where on the recording you're setting a standard, aren't you, because what you produce is going out to the world. Live, some of his lines he's really simplified. Now I'm Here being a fairly good example. There's a couple of others as well. Sometimes We Are the Champions he plays very boringly. Sometimes wonder, certainly through the 80s gigs, if he'd had a few by that point in the show. He was playing for safety, so rather than play anything that was a little tricky, he didn't want to muck anything up. But no, for me, the way I've always viewed any tribute, unless I'm playing with a tribute band, they've got specific arrangements of songs, in which case you go to the original, you learn the meat and potatoes, the nuts and bolts of what that song's about, you learn the bass line, then you come back to the band arrangement and you can then fashion what you need to. But I've always believed that the band, the producers, their arrangers, not just Queen, it could be any band, Green Day, I've done Green Day tributes, done a whole load of tributes. They've done all the work for you. So all you've really got to do is copy what is on that record, because no one cares what my interpretation of that song is. I'm just me, I'm Mike Brooks, I do Brooks' Space Corner. John Deacon's the mastermind. You're there to replicate his ideas, his voice, basically. So I know there are some tributes out there that try to fancy things up. You can do medleys and stuff, that's all cool. But when you're actually looking at songs, my view is play what's there. That's what the people are paying the money for. They don't want to come and see Mike Brooks playing John Deacon. That's not going to put any bums on seats. Doesn't put my bum on the seat, that's for sure. Let's see what we got here. Messages. Here we go. That's exactly what I got. I love the Millionaire Waltz line. Yes, I said that earlier. Millionaire Waltz. I actually love Prince of the Universe, and I'm not the only Queen fan that would love to see them do it. I do know from my source, hi Neil, they did actually rehearse up a potential version for that years ago with Adam Lambert, and didn't do it in the end, which is a shame. But who knows, maybe that'll come out at some point. I actually love John's playing on that, and actually John's bass playing on the whole of Kind of Magic was really good. A few too many synth bass lines, and again that was on Miracle as well, but I'm presuming he came up with the original line ideas. It was just they thought sonically the synth had a better sounding bass end for what they were trying to do. Breakthrough being a perfect example, because trying to play the breakthrough line on bass live is really tricky. But the sound on the record is great. So, you know, you've got to have a bass that kind of has that honk, but also like a smooth bottom end as well, which is always a job in itself, trying to replicate that live. I saw some more It's obviously Dragon Attack. How could I not say Dragon Attack? My God. When I first picked up a bass and I was going through the entire Queen back catalogues, I just bought a copy of Complete Works. I learned the game, hot space, back to front for weeks, and getting Dragon Attack was a thing. And don't try suicide. Been a while, about 31 years since I played that. I think I saw a message pop up there. Bernard Edwards. What are you talking about, Stace? Oh, here we go. Sorry, I missed a message. I always play Bernard Edwards lines to the T. Impossible to improve. Well, most stuff I play, I try and stick to the plot. Great. These guys have done all the work for you. You're just replicating their genius. And if we want to start talking Bernard, a lot of you who watch the channel will know I play in a disco show band, so we do loads of chic. So where do we want to go? Go down that road. It's been a few weeks since I've done Le Freak. I've got to run that next week before next week's gig. That's given me a reminder. Thank you. Yeah, I'd read that one. That's cool. Okay. Sorry, I've got a blue arrow on the screen, which means there's another message further below, and I've read it. Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, let's think more bass lines. John Deacon bass lines. Here we go. Man on the Prowl is good because he changes throughout. It's not consistent the whole way through. Let's think. I'm trying to think. I'm going through the albums on my head, through my head. Keep Passing the Open Windows is a great bass line. It basically it preempts Kind of Magic. So he's got that going on. Obviously Kind of Magic is. So yeah, so you already had that bit going on. Hot space. Well, I always like his playing on Life is Real. Cool Cat, obviously. Cool Cat. They should have done that live. Chris Pigeon, good God, how are you, sir? Lovely to see you. I was talking to Lauren this morning because I'm up here in your neck of the woods, sir. Are you using in-ears on your gigs these days? Yes, I am, although I'm not tonight, and I didn't last night. Let me just mute this, and I will show you. We can have this discussion for anyone that's interested. Let me just get the old gear here. Right, so yes, I will be using in-ears tomorrow. So we've had this discussion on Brooks' Bass Corner many times. We can do it again. So this is what I use for in-ear monitors in a lovely little gator bag, which is nicely laid out. So I'll show you. So I use a Sennheiser G3. Stacey, you're giving me loads of money today. Thank you very much. For anyone that doesn't know, Stacey's just done a super chat. She's given me $4.99. If you enjoy this video, any videos on the channel, you enjoy what we do here on the channel, you can contribute financially to the channel, how we run, how I buy stuff for review, buy equipment to keep the videos going, studio hire, all that kind of thing. If you enjoy the videos, in the chat window, you'll see there's an emoji icon, so you can put emojis in the chat. There's a dollar symbol. If you click on that dollar symbol, you can contribute to the channel. It's very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stace. Right, so here's what I do. So This is a Sennheiser G3, I think. Yeah, W300. That's it. So that goes in there. And I'll show you the rest of it. So if I do that panel back up. So what I then use, I don't need monitors tonight. I've got big, lovely monitors and a fine sound man down there. He did a grand job last night. So you undo that zip and suddenly you have all the gubbins in here. So you've got little pouches and bags for all the batteries and what have you. I have a transmitter, which is the Sennheiser affair, obviously. There's the adapter for the unit, and then there's an aerial, all sorts of other bits and bobs. So I'll show you the actual ears. So this is a conundrum for anyone wanting to go down the IEM route, because everyone and their dog will tell you need to spend £500, £600, £700 on in-ears. You don't. You can, but then in your head, if you had a £700 guitar and you lost it, broke it, damaged it, you'd probably be a little heartbroken. So why are you going to take that risk on £700 in monitors that you're paying for? And I've known people do this. So the point was made to me, you can have all of that, you can have expensive in-ears, but really it comes down to the person who's mixing the sound in your ears. Because if they don't do that part right, there's no point having £700 in-ear monitors are just going to enhance the effect that the mixing was dreadful. So I chose not to go down that road because at the time I didn't have the money to do it, but I was pointed by the ever genial Andy Carr, who plays for ABC, and he does go west occasionally. He does Belinda Carlisle's tours and all sorts. He suggested, Mike, go on Amazon and buy some ZS10s or ZS10 Pros. I can't remember what they were. So I bought them. And I've done hundreds of gigs with these now, and they're fabulous. They're bulletproof. And the fact I've bought 3, in fact, I've got another box in my bag in the change room. So I have 3 sets of these. So if they got damaged, broken, or what have you, I've already replaced them. It's not going to kill me for 50 quid. They have 5 drivers in them, so you get separate frequencies for bass, treble, mids. Loads of people are saying, oh no, they're crap, they're not, they don't seal in your ears. Well, they wouldn't. That's what you're paying 50 quid for, rather than £500, £600, £700 and having molds. I'd rather go down that route than spend a load of money on something and they get lost, broken. I've had band members pick these up and disappear for 2 weeks and I didn't have them. If that had happened to my £700 pair, I'd be furious. So these are great and they do perfectly well for what I want. Can hear everything, separation is really good. If I'm doing Uncle Funk and we have the hub, and we're sort of, it's an enclosed hub, so only we have access to it. I then do mixing for what I'm hearing on an iPad. So I have literally a mix faders for everyone in the band, and I can work it out from that. So that's what I do. So that whole little rig and setup of in-ears probably cost me, so that was in 2019, probably cost me close to about £360 maybe, which wasn't a huge investment. And actually I've done so many gigs with it now. It goes everywhere with me, every gig. A lot of times I don't use it if we've got good monitoring. And I love it if we're on an enclosed system and I'm doing the mix, because then I know what I want to hear. And that works really good. So I hope that helps you, Chris. But that's kind of what works for me. You can throw as much money at it as you want, but at the time I didn't have loads of money to do that. Let's have a look here. I missed a couple of messages there. Just bear with me a minute. Here we go. Chris, yes, I was curious about this one as you'd not mentioned. What are you talking about? Chris Pigeon, Music Studio. Yeah, I was curious about this one as you'd not mentioned. What, the gig? I didn't know tonight was a public gig until about 2 days ago. So if you are in the vicinity, sir, and you want to come down, I have access to guest lists, etc. So if you're not doing anything this evening and you want to come down, let me know. Yeah, if you can do your own mix, it's great. Killer Queen, yes, Stacey. I've got to run through that shortly because we might be running that tonight. Dude, you give such good info and sharing your experiences helps us all. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for the payment. I started using them in the pop tribute on some SE215s. That's the Sennheiser. Are you talking about the in-ears, Chris, or is that the receiver and the transmitter as well? I'm drumming and we run tracks, so I bought some ACS ones. Yeah, there's loads of different ones out there. It was just Andy Carr recommended these because they were cheap, inexpensive, but because they had multiple drivers, the quality in the ears was a lot better. And he wasn't wrong. And I totally got his point about if you have really great IEMs, but the mix is crap, well, then it doesn't matter how good the IEMs are, the mix is still crap. I use a wired setup. Yeah, I've done that too. Yeah, I've done that on a couple of bands. I'm missing a message there. I use a wired setup as I'm obviously sat down. Yeah, I'm guessing you're using a little Behringer box. I think it's called a TK1 or TK2. Cam Voodoo, how do you feel about playing synth bass lines? I usually enjoy it myself. Recently got the Source Studio. Bear with me, guys. Source Studio C4. I've been looking at that C4. But it looks very technological, and you have to connect it to a desktop PC or laptop to make changes. I thought they were going to bring out a newer version with a tech upgrade. Sorry, it looks like I'm Rudolph there. My nose is so pink. They were bringing out a newer version with updated tech, which was going to make it easier to make preset changes via your mobile phone. Yeah, it ain't simple. Exactly, I'd heard that. But apparently it's got the best sounds. But you see, I did a review of the Octavius Squeezer, which was back in 2007, which was like, that was the thing that was going to blow all the synth pedals out. The manual was like that. Sorry, you can't even see it. That. It was huge. To print it off, your printer would have been running for about 3 weeks. And it had so many parameters. It sounded great, but just trying to edit the thing. All we ever want from a bass synth pedal is great sounds and make it easily editable. Yet the manufacturers just don't seem to be able to do that. They just want to cram in 1,000,001 features. I'm fine with playing synth bass lines. If you mean playing on a keyboard synth, I don't really do that, but I've never had to do it. If someone said to me, we're going on world tour and you need to have that down within the next 4 weeks, I'd be doing it. But I've never had to do it. And generally for a lot of synthy, he says, lines, I'll just run a chorus pedal and an octave pedal, and that kind of gets me in the ballpark. I actually find what gets you that tone can sometimes be the choice of the instrument rather than any sort of processing. I used to use a Roland VB99. Is that the V-Bass? Because I looked at one of them back in the early 2000s, and I was going to go down that route because I thought it would save me a fortune buying different basses, and in the end I just bought the different basses. I used to use a Roland VB, but I retired it from gear. That message keeps disappearing. Hold on. As it was getting beat up, and I love it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the V-Bass. It seemed like a great idea when it came out, and I remember loads of people going, oh, we got to get one of them. Lots of West End theatre players got them, but they didn't want to destroy their basses by putting that pickup on. So what you found was they were buying cheap, it's like £500 Yamahas or what have you, and then sticking the pickup on that. But needs must. I didn't go down that route. I did consider it, and in the end I thought, do you know what, I'll just buy the basses. So I started buying a Precision, a Jazz, a Stingray, a this, a that, and the other, and suddenly you end up with 35 basses. But there we go, hey. Good investments. So, there we are. So yeah, so if you've not done Brooks's Bass Corner live chat, this is a rarity. I don't normally get to do soundcheck and gig live chat, so I had time on my hands and I thought, do you know what, we'll do one today. Seems to be quite popular. We'll have to do these more often. We don't normally have this situation, you turn up and it's all guns blazing from the moment you walk in the door, but it's quite good today. So I hope some of the pearls of wisdom have been of use. So if you've got any other comments, any other questions, anything about basses, amplifiers, effect pedals, wayward band members walking around the room, you got anything you want to ask about gigs, you want to ask about any videos on the channel, bass reviews, interviews, essential bass albums, fire away. Because otherwise I'm standing here looking like a donut on the stage. That's the way it goes. So if you only just tuned in, So I'm doing a Queen tribute tonight. I've done the same band last night in the same venue. Last night was a corporate event. Don't let me hold you up, guys, if you need to do stuff. So we're very lucky. We're in the same venue, but tonight's a public ticket event. So we're going to do some filming, and we've got basically whole access to the stage tonight, whereas we didn't last night. We were a bit cut off because it was an awards ceremony. So tonight we have full stage space. So this is going to be, I'll even come to the edge of the stage. I'll show you Brooks's bass corner tonight. So that's me tonight, which isn't bad. I get a fair bit of room. So there's Freddie's Ivories there. That's what we're looking at. And if you want to see the whole hall and a drummer in his shorts, that's what it looks like. And that's kind of what we're up to. So we did last night. We got a public gig tonight to the Great Unwashed of Lincoln, and then tonight, once we finish, we pack up, we get back in the cars, and we're off to Burton-on-Trent, and we're playing a corporate event for McLaren racing cars tomorrow. So we've got a whole day of setting up and sort of lounging around. We may do another live chat tomorrow if you're up for it. So if you've got loads of Queen related stuff you'd like to ask, can be bass related, doesn't have to be. I'm happy talking about Queen albums till the cows come home. So if you want to talk about Queen songs, we can go for it. And actually, if we've got anyone who was on Tuesday's live chat, I keep saying Monday, it's Tuesday. We got on a bit of a level 42 track, and I was about to wind the chat up, and suddenly a few people came on, and we started having a right old level 42 chat about Mark King's basses and Trace Elliott gear and gigs and albums. So if you want to go down that road, I am more than happy to indulge that. That's no problem for me at all. So yeah, so I can see there are people out there. I can see the counter, so I know there's people watching. So if you're not watching this at the time, which is right now, and you're watching this at a later date, or you might be listening to it as a podcast, because I know a lot of my bass friends listen to the live chats on their way home. If that's not going to send you to sleep behind the wheel, I don't know what is. You can still get involved. You can post comments afterwards, and I will come back to you on them. Been learning You Can't Blame Lewis today. Cracking track. I need to know what bass, and I want a picture of the bass. Can't Blame Lewis, classic bass line. Even Neil Fairclough rates that. We had many, let me explain this. So Neil Fairclough is the bass player for Queen with Adam Lambert. And I interviewed Neil back in 2015. All three parts of that interview are available here on the channel. I'll put links in the description box. You can find them just by searching for the videos. Go to the video playlist, you can go to the interview playlist. All three of them on there. You can hear me nattering to him. We'd never met before. We realised of a similar age, and we had pretty much all the same influences, into the same things, geeky to the point of no return. We were talking Queen, Duran Duran, Level 42, Tower of Power, Marcus Miller, Star Wars, video games. It was meant to be a 30-minute interview. It turned into 3.5 hours. We talk regularly. But there we go. And he's a huge Mark King fan. And we were having a chat about our favourite Level 42 bass lines, favourite basses the Mark's used. It got quite involved. So, You Can't Blame Lewis is right up there. Strandberg is my only bass now. I missed that. Oh. Strandberg, apart from my Sire and Fretless Jazz. That's all right. Sounds like a nice little, a nice tidy little collection there. The Strandberg, enlighten me. I've not played one yet. I see them every time I go to Bass Direct, but I've always got other things I need to do when I'm there. So, in your best salesman outfit, tell me all about the Strandberg. Give me a heads up. What's good about it? Playability, sounds, construction, how it's laid out, how it's built. You tell me. But I see them all the time, and yet I've not played one. So there's your job for the afternoon. Right, so if you're also learning level 42 bass lines, your homework for the weekend, young man, Return of the Handsome Rugged Man. So I suggest that's a B-side from the same album as You Can't Blame Lewis. I suggest you get cracking very shortly. You could be at that one all weekend. So yeah, that'll get the fingers moving. There's a bass line that even Mark refuses to play live, I suspect, because I think it's two separate bass lines going on at the same point. And it's a bit of a finger twister. And every time I've asked him, you can play that next to me, and he goes, no. But the funny thing is, the band and the horn section want to play it. So I think at some point that's going to get unveiled. Could be on the current shows, but I haven't seen anyone post on Facebook about last night's show. So I'm guessing there wasn't Return of the Handsome Rugged Man, which is a shame. So there seems to be activity happening now. I have band members getting up on the stage and wiring up. And we've got sound man, lights and stuff going on. So it's all good. I sold my MTD5 due to go out in the hands, okay. Trying to Strandberg in bass director sold. Sounds lovely, very ergonomic and incredibly light. There you go, that's done. Very good. That's all I need to know. So next time I need to go and do a review and I pick one of them up, I know exactly what I'm dealing with. Excellent. Groovy grooves. I like it. Yeah. So I don't always spend this much time hanging about on the stage. I'm usually a man of get on there, do it and get off, but we had so much time to kill today. I thought this was a fairly good way to spend it. How are we doing, young John?
Excellent, Mike.
Excellent. That's what I like to
Hello
hear.
to the channel.
There we are. The man's dressed for rock. That man turns into Freddie Mercury, but you wouldn't know it, would you? He's not all garbed up yet. He does a fine job. Bless him. So yeah. So we've been going for nearly an hour and 40 minutes, which is quite unheard of. Yeah, okay, we can go for a little longer. If you guys are enjoying this, I'm fine. We aren't making a noise yet. We've got cabling and stuff to do, so it's all good. So for those who are unenlightened, if you've not attended one of the live chats before, at the bottom of the live chat window, there's an emoji icon, which allows you to put emojis into the live chat. Next to it, there should be a dollar symbol, which is called Super Chat, which allows you to financially contribute to the channel, which allows me to buy equipment to review, allows me to buy the stuff for doing the workshop videos, allows me to buy equipment for filming and editing and doing the audio stuff, and it also allows me to hire studios for filming. So if you wish to contribute to the live channel, hit that super chat button. You can donate to the channel, and it is very, very much appreciated. The other option is underneath every video here on the channel, you will see a variety of icons. You'll see a thumbs up, a thumbs down, share button, save, watch later. There's a love heart with a dollar symbol in it. It's called Super Thanks. And what that is if you enjoy a video or the stuff, the output that a creator puts up, and you want to donate to the channel, you can do so in exactly the same way as Super Chat. Or if someone posts up a video and say you've got a problem, for example, your boiler's knackered and it's throwing up error messages and you don't know what the error message is. There are 1,000,001 videos here on YouTube about boiler error messages. That message and that video might just help you out. You might want to say thank you to the creator of that video for providing the knowledge that you now have. In bass terms, you might have a Kubicki X Factor that needs restringing and you haven't got a clue how to do it. I haven't done that video yet, but it's coming. If you wanted to restring your Factor, you might want to go on YouTube and look for a video that talks about restringing a Kubicki X Factor. If, after watching that video, everything is a whole lot clearer for you, you might want to say thank you to the creator of that video for doing that video. So that's how that all works. Alternatively, you can just hit a subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and hit the like button for this video or any of the other videos on the channel. And again, it's all very much appreciated because it keeps the YouTube algorithm moving positively for my channel and any other channels that you do this for. So there we go. That's how that works. If you've not done a live chat before, and this is your first one, we do live chats on Brooks's Bass Corner. Can Voodoo, thank you very much. Super chat of £5. Bless you, sir. I'll get you a pint next time we cross paths somewhere. We do live chats on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock here in the UK. And we do everything that we're talking about here. So if you want to talk about basses, you want to talk about amps, effects, accessories, albums, bass gods, bass legends, we do all that. It's just a nice collection of bass playing people, and we have a good old natter, and if we can solve any bass playing problems at the same time, then we do. And that's how that goes. You had a factor. Okay, I missed that message. There we go. I had a factor, I miss it. I've got two. I've got a 89 Fender in coral pink, which is now fretless, and I have an original Kubicki from 88 in white, and they're both excellent. So I understand why you missed them. Great basses, great basses. For anyone who doesn't know what a Kubicki factor is, there is a soundbite demo video and a review video here on the channel. I'll put them in the description box, probably on Sunday. So if anything I've referred to in this live chat you want to check out, links will be in the description box in a day or two. Let's just have a look at that. I missed that message. You had a white Fender. Yep. They were slightly different. The first batch of Fenders were made with leftover parts that Phil Kubicki handed over once the license was signed. Then, once those parts ran out, Fender had to produce their own. So you can always tell a Fender by if it's got the Fender Custom Shop sticker on the back of the headstock. You can also tell by the serial number, and you can find that information out online. I might actually put it in the description box. There's a couple of old Yahoo groups about Kubickis that they break down the serial numbers and the dates, so you can pinpoint when a bass was made. Yeah, so once Fender had to make their own parts, it went from a 5-position and standby setting switch. I think it went down to 4. I can't remember if it had the standby or not. My Fender was made with Phil Kubicki's parts, so both of my basses have got full 5-position and standby. So all good. There we go. Little history lesson for you there. Let's have a look here. I was a Vale Johnson Stu Ham fan. Yeah, likewise, mate. Vale Johnson, big influence on me. Stu Ham was as well. Although I kind of found some of Stu's stuff a bit hyper technical for someone like myself. It was didn't mind listening to it, but I couldn't copy it. The whole tapping thing, great as it is, I've just never used any of that in my playing. Certainly not live anyway. But Vale, I mean, there's plenty you can steal from Vale's playing. That's Groove Master par excellence there. And actually his playing on the live Kenny G video that came out in like late 80s, early 90s, which had Midnight Motion and all of that on there. It was great. That was kind of groundbreaking for me. I already had my factor, but I didn't know who he was, and I kept hearing his name. Samuel Moose, James Dewar fan, even more as a vocalist. Sorry, you've lost me, sir. You're welcome to the channel, welcome to the live chat. I don't know what that's in reference to. James Dewar fan, even more as a vocalist. I don't know who James Dewar is. I'm assuming you're talking about a Kubicki player, maybe. If you can post another message, that might be what it is. Our Brian May tonight is now strumming the faint version of Love of My Life, so we have a lovely soundtrack to accompany our live chat. Hopefully Queen Productions won't hit me with a copyright share, which means I don't get paid a penny for this. But we'll see how we go. Robin Trower, bass player, lead vocalist, thank you. That's the problem with live chats. People sometimes come in, they react to something you say, you don't know what context they were meaning it in. Thank you for clearing that up. That's good. Yeah, Robin Trower, cool. The only tapping I ever use is the trill thing from the beginning of Addicted to That Rush, is what you mean, not Addicted to That Touch. Yes, I have done. I incorporate a lot of little elements of Billy Sheehan playing in my playing. More through habit than usually thinking about it, it just happens. And actually there's a whole bunch of bass players that I have all sorts of little elements in my playing, and when I do it, I know, oh, that's a nod to that player and that player and that player. And it's just what you build up. It's your library of licks and musical phrases that you develop over time. Don't always think you're going to do it, it just happens. And that, when you're on autopilot and you're doing that, that's kind of a cool thing. Yes, addicted to that rush. Yes, we've been there. We're probably of a similar vintage, you and I. We've probably got the same bass influences and music influences. Sorry I'm moving around, just kind of trying not to sort of stand still for too long. Did a lot of standing around and sitting yesterday on a long drive, so I haven't been out for a walk today. So I normally walk the dog twice. So it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, well, we can carry on. We're still sort of setting up here. So if you guys are happy chatting, I'm more than happy to do it. We've got the window cleaners just arrived, as you can hear. They're sort of whistling. But yeah. So if you've just arrived on this, and you're thinking, what the hell is going on? So basically, I'm Mike Brooks. This is Brooks's Bass Corner. We're doing a gig today. I don't normally get to do live chats like this. This is a rarity. I need to put the goggles on. And we're doing a Queen gig, Queen tribute gig. We did one last night. We're in the same venue tonight. Tonight's a public gig. Last night was a corporate gig. So yes, we're rigging up. We're filming. We're recording audio tonight for a new demo. And while we had the luxury of having the whole stage and room to ourselves, I thought we'd do a live chat. And ever done one like this is a premiere. So in that respect, thank you for attending. It's very much appreciated. Without you guys, it would just be me and Stacey talking all day. Which is no bad thing, of course. So yeah, so this, just need to check the time. 3:45. Evan, we've got to move our cars shortly, so at some point I'm going to have to end this beautiful thing, but we'll keep going. So if you've got any questions about basses, bass amps, bass pedals, if you weren't on the chat earlier, I'm quite happy to go around all the gear and show you what we've got. Papa G, hey, how you doing, Gary? Welcome. I was told around 350. I suspect it's more. Have a look. Big old hall, and apparently I came in at about midday and the ticket office said it was meant to be all standing, and then they had requests from various people, probably some of the oldest, saying we want a seat, we want to have a booked seat. So they're apparently going to seating, but I have a feeling they might have to leave part of the floor space bare for people to get up and enjoy themselves. So we'll see what happens. Who knows? It'll change out. We'll have to see. So if you weren't here earlier, we can go for a quick scoot around the gear. So it's John Deacon night, so it's precisions all the way. So here we have Fender FSR 2017 70s precision bass. Nothing changed on it, I don't think. Hefty, weighs a bit, sounds great. So it's an ash body, maple neck, maple fingerboard, black binding. Pickup is specially wound for that model. It's a Mexican-made bass, but it sounds phenomenal. If you didn't hear it, I won't make it in at the moment, but if you go and watch this live chat a little earlier, I was doing some demonstration with it. We then got that bass, which is my main one for this thing, and that is a 2017 or 2018 Fender Standard Mexican. Changed the pickup to an Aguilar 4P60. It's got a Wilkinson brass bridge, changed all the hardware so it's gold, hip shot tuners, sounds great, plays great, no complaints. We then get on to the battle chip. So we've got an Aguilar DB751 amp, Korg tuner, although I'm not using that today, and a pair of Aguilar SL212 cabinets, super light, 212s in each and a tweeter. Plenty of oomph. Again, you want a demo of that, go back to this live chat video after the event, you'll be able to hear all that. Then we've got the AG700 amp on top, which is my spare. So if anything goes wrong, I can just reroute very quickly. No problems with that. And then we get the pedal board, which looks like it's semi-destroyed here. I don't know what's going on. So we've got a Boss TU2 tuner, drop Digitech pedal, EBS Octabass, Aguilar Filter Twin, and Aguilar Tone Hammer preamp pedal. And that's it, simple. Both basses, rotor sound, swing bass 66 steel strings, round wounds, 4500 and 5 gauge. Don't use flat wounds. Some Queen tributes do. I don't. I want punch, and I want something to grab hold of, and I prefer the round wound tone. It cut through a bit better. So that's what works for me. Just in case I missed any messages there. Let's just have a little look, shall we? Didn't John Taylor have a Kabiki? Yes, he did. He had several. John Taylor having a Kabiki is the reason I went for Kabikis. He had several, and he stopped using them around about 1990, 91. I don't think he owns any now. The ones that the original ones went back to Kabiki. One got sold via auction. I think they still have his white one. The big thing one went for sale on eBay not that long ago. Yeah. I missed that message. There's a message about that. That head looks heavy. Yeah, it is. It's a bit of a carry, I have to say. But it sounds so good. It really does. And again, I won't make a din at the moment because everyone's setting up. But if you go back to this video earlier, I did a bit of a demo with all that. You'll hear it. It's full on. But that's why it's considered the best bass amp out there. That's why I've got one. I'm not normally a tube fan, not normally my bag, but this amp is just outstanding. First time I ever used an Aguilar was DB750 and a 4x10. I think it was the GS410, and we had them for review at the magazine. And I took them out on a function gig with my EBS rig, and although I felt the EBS cabinet was better than the GS410, the DB750 was all over my EBS Fafner. I thought that is the amp to strive for. Then they've upgraded to DB751, and I moved over from EBS to Aguilar in 2018. I've been very happy. It's fine gear, love it, reliable, gets the sounds I want, and it's simple. I love a simple front end. I don't want 1,000,001 buttons and options, and there's too many things to go wrong. So you can keep it simple, works for me. So as you can see, it's a hive of activity now. It's getting that way. But yeah, so I hope you lot are all having a good start to your weekend. Hope you've all got nice weekends planned. And we might do this all again tomorrow, we'll see. Because we're doing a corporate event for McLaren at the Hilton Hotel in Burton-on-Trent tomorrow. So this all goes in the cars tonight after tonight's gig. We get over there, stay the night, we get set up tomorrow. We go again. And that'll be 3 on the bounce. And then we're kind of in the run-up towards Christmas. So from this weekend onwards, it's 2 or 3 gigs every week. I think there's a couple of 4 gigs in a week as well, and it's all guns blazing towards Christmas. So there's Queen gigs, got some Oasis gigs coming up, got Uncle Funk, the disco show band, a couple of pub gigs here and there, some ABBA, in fact loads of ABBA in December, load of ABBA theatre gigs. So yeah, it's busy old time. There will be a video probably next week, or at least I'll film it next week. So I hinted on a live chat 2 weeks ago that I was going to be rebuilding the pedal boards because of the work that's coming up. So that needs to be done, and I need to decide exactly which pedals I'm going to be using, both here on this smaller board and also on the bigger pedal train board. So I will do, or endeavour to do that this week and film it. It might be part of a live chat while I'm doing it, or it might just be a long-form video and that goes up on the channel. But I will keep you posted on that. For some reason my box isn't closing. And yeah, so that will be that. Freddie's encroaching on the camera. You look so different without your costume on.
Ivan, is that the piano set now?
I think we've got so much going on here now. I think I'm going to have to wind this down shortly, guys. Do any of your bands use click tracks? Yes, sir. Uncle Funk, every track has click tracks because A, it's a 9-piece band. B, all of the lighting is DMX'd up to those tracks, so everything's coordinated. And what's the other reason? There's probably 100 reasons, but I've played in many bands with click tracks. The whole reason for having a click track is to make the band sound better. So if you've got like a 3 or 4 piece pub band, you can do keys and horns and percussion, effects. It just makes everything sound a whole lot better and a bit more polished. I know there are loads of people who don't like using backing tracks, and lots of drummers that don't like playing with a click track. It's just laziness. Get used to it, it's the way it's going. We have a couple of synth tracks in this for things like Radio Gaga and Kind of Magic. The ABBA stuff, not so much. That's all live. The keyboard player hits a couple of sequences in various places. I think the Oasis thing has click tracks for anything that's got piano. So that's there. I've worked with click tracks and backing tracks for so long, it's never an issue for me. Chris, off to teach. Have a good gig, Mike. Catch up soon. Yes, sir. It's been a long time, isn't it? 15 years since I did a deck for you. That's blown by, isn't it? Yes, there are only 4 of us and we use them on every track. There you go. My old covers band, there were 3 of us. So bass, drums, guitar, we all sang. Backing tracks, kept the cost down. Band sounded great. So yeah, there we go. So, with things starting to liven up, I'm debating whether to just leave this running. You guys tell me, do you want to see us do some sound check and stuff, or is that not really a thing? If you would like to see some sound check, you could be hanging on for a while, so maybe I'll end the live chat and we'll come back at a later time. Sam, what did you put there? I missed it. Sam, click track, punch in and out exactly where you need to, exactly. Can't play Boogie Wonderland with 3 musos. No, I need a lot of backing track for that. But then we're a 9-piece band when we do disco stuff and so. Male singer, 2 female singers, bass, guitar, keys, drums, 2 horns. Quite a big band, but there's still other stuff there in the track to make everything sound as good as possible. If you want to check out any of that band, the disco show band, if you go on to my videos here on the channel and go through a couple of the bass string experiment videos from about, I'm trying to work out the gigs, probably from around gig 6, gig 7, gig 9, gig 10, you'll see that band in action, doing festivals, theatre shows, what have you. I've incorporated a load of footage of us playing, and that's using my Status Empathy. So for anyone who doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about again, I'll put a link in the description box for the Bass String Experiment series. So that's basically, I've got a Status Empathy bass, I've put a set of rote sound steel strings on. We're aiming to see how many gigs that bass can do before those strings either break or have to be changed. We're up to gig 16. Videos on the channel go as far as 11. So videos 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 will be coming very shortly. They're all done, ready, edited to go. Probably next week, a couple of those should start appearing. So if you want to check them out, you want to see what that disco band does, they're there on the channel. You can't hear us, I can't run the audio tracks unfortunately because I'd get hit with copyright strikes. So I've basically got YouTube Creator Studio Music on there. But that's just the way it goes. But yeah, there are videos for Uncle Funk. There's a YouTube channel. You want to check any of the live stuff out. There's a whole gig film that we did during lockdown that's there. So if you want to see what we do, feel free. They're there. So that's kind of that. So if you've got any questions about basses, bass guitars, effects, bass accessories, anything here on the channel, review videos, interview videos, let me know. That's what the chat window's for. That's what the live chat's all about. It's a two-way street. I need you guys to comment, reply and react. Otherwise you've got to listen to me banging on for ages and ages. I hope this has been enlightening for those of you who've joined in. Never done one of these at Soundcheck before. It just seemed like quite a good idea today. And yeah. Probably ruin my voice for the gig. That's by the by. As long as Freddie sounds all right, we're okay, aren't we?
It's free sound.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to wind this down for now. And maybe when we come back to sound check, what have you, maybe I'll relaunch. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. I realise that us playing Queen songs is going to get hit with copyright problems, so we will see. But anyway, thank you very much to everyone who's joined in. You can see your numbers there. Thank you for all of the super chat donations. That's really fabulous. Thank you. You can still donate after this live chat's finished. If you go into the icons below the video, you've got thumbs up, thumbs down, share, save, watch later. You'll see a love heart with a dollar symbol. It's called Super Thanks. You can hit that, make a donation towards the channel if you're enjoying the video. If you don't enjoy the video, you don't need to donate, do you? I've realised the stage now is going to start jittering. I can see it all shaking because we've got people walking across and doing stuff. So on that note, I will say thank you very much, guys. Might catch you later. So just keep an eye on your YouTube, on your phone or your devices. You'll get notified if we do. If we don't, then we might do this again tomorrow. Because we're going to have all this again. Not in here though, we'll be at a different venue. So on that note, thank you very much everyone for attending. Next live chat, if we don't do tomorrow, will be Tuesday at 7 PM. Every Tuesday up until December the 6th. But live bass chat. This is what we do. So on that note, I bid you farewell. Have a great Friday. We might be back shortly. Who knows? It's all free form today. And yeah, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you soon. Take it easy.